you Hebrew Israelites all the time. That's what they went on anyway, you know, turn he shall die in his iniquity, but thou hast delivered thy soul. That's the goal. Right? Lord, I did my job. You told me to tell go on these people. That they hear about it, they forbear. That's what we did. Came up there day in, day out, week in, week out, and we gave it the truth. We told you everything. We did the research. And I brought it to you. Literally put the food and served it to you. And what did you do? Take your spoon, you dibble and dabble around it, right? And so even if you just dibble and dabble around it, and then you just push it back, and it was like, yo, here you go, take your food out. They want this shit over. I'm like, damn, dude, that took so much time, effort, research. I gave you all the most healthiest ingredients. You know what I'm saying? I thought about your health, the days, everything went into this. I included it for you. And I'm blessed with the name of the Lord on top. And this is what you do with it. So what do you think is going to happen? When the real famine comes, what's going to happen? The Lord says, no, don't be giving them that. Because now they want it. Fuck that shit. I'm not giving them that shit. When I gave it to them when it was in abundance, what did they say? Now we don't want this. We want to go eat McDonald's. We want to stop at Burger King. We want to eat Chick-fil-A. The organic food, fuck all that. The nutritious food, nah, we don't want that. So now the Lord says, okay, cool. This famine is coming. When the people going to be screaming for, oh, please give me some of that. Yeah, you're going to get that Squidward treat. You know? But you got it, bro.
Yeah. I got a precept to go along with what you were saying, because that spirit of lying words, right, it's been prevalent in Israel for years, for generations. In fact, same thing was happening during the time of Jeremiah. You know, you had the prophet in all different captivities, but mainly you had the prophets that were sent of the Lord that would tell you the truth. But usually Israel doesn't want to hear the truth, because when the Lord has to send his prophets, it's either there's something major he's about to do, or there's something you're doing wrong, and he's sending his prophets to warn you, right? So most of the time when the prophets of old, you know, or just the prophets of the Lord came on the scene, the message wasn't necessarily, you know, the sweetest thing to hear. Okay, it was started first with a warning, and then there would always be counter prophets who would leverage the fact that people don't like to hear the truth. People don't like to be told they're wrong, and then told that if they don't stop, they're gonna be destroyed. You know, being commanded of the Lord. Jake are revolters, as the scriptures say. So they don't like to hear instruction, because the second, look, you can manipulate somebody, right, who's Jake, to do something that they normally wouldn't do, as long as you don't make it seem like you're telling them what to do. That's it. That's why, like in the corporate world, when somebody wants to tell you to do something, they use the word we, you know? So you'll bring something, right? And they'll say, all right, what they could say is, nah, you gotta do better than that. Or like, go and refix that. You know what I'm saying? Instead, what they'll say is, I see where you're going with that. So how can we, like, you know, make this do this instead? Or how can we do this? You're not really doing anything. The person's going to do it. But they throw in the term we, so it doesn't sound like they're instructing you or telling you what to do, because they know you're more receptive if it sounds like we are working together to accomplish something, right? So when it comes to Jake, the second you tell him, yo, go do this, or I told you to go do that, nope, you know? But if you say it in a different way, where it doesn't sound like you're telling them what to do, then they'll be on it. It's like a certain syndrome inside of their mind that just has them do the reverse of what they're told to do. So, I got a precept here. This is Jeremiah chapter 7, verse 4. It says here, trust ye not in lying words, saying the temple of the Lord, the temple of the Lord, the temple of the Lord are these. And what they were doing during Jeremiah's time was, as he was telling them about the judgment that was coming, they were basically responding, saying, nah, ain't no judgment coming. The Lord got his temple set up over here. How's he going to destroy this place when his the place of his name is right here? So don't fear that. And the Lord says, right, jumping into verse Jeremiah 8 and 11, it says here, for they have healed the hurt of the daughter of my people slightly, saying peace, peace, when there is no peace. See, and that's, once again, like we were just talking about, you know, you have on video Nate saying there ain't gonna be a time. The dude asked him explicitly, and then the dude questioned him. He probed, right, on the topic of Jacob's trouble. So he's saying, so there's gonna be nothing, no tribulate, no nothing like that. It's not like he asked a question and you didn't understand it. No, and he confidently said, nope. You know, it ain't gonna happen. And then he gave the scenario too on top of that. And then now he's turning around talking about, that's not what I said, oh moron. But the video's right there. Everybody can see that video. So they heal the hurt of the Lord's people slightly, meaning the damage that our people are in, right, is gonna come. There's gonna be healed by way of this word. But what they do is they give you a feel-good message, which will give you a temporary moment of bliss, even though you're in the midst of impending destruction. And that's why it's healed slightly. Because by telling somebody that, you know what, we ain't gonna suffer no trouble. God is all love. He's with you anyway. They can go back and their conscience can be soothed, right? And they can say, you know what, I'm going through this, but you know, it's not that bad. But guess what? They're gonna stay in that condition because you're not telling them that what they're doing is what's causing this problem to come and they got to stop. You're telling them you can keep doing it, but the Lord still loves you and you're gonna be all right. So eventually, when the Lord loses it and brings that judgment, they're gonna be completely hurt, right? I think in the same chapter, the 8th chapter, it mentions how they're gonna respond by saying they were deceived. They looked for peace and there was none, and then instead they found trouble. Well, the Lord's men have been warning you about trouble, but you listen to the false teachers who deceived you with soothing lies of peace, as it says in Jeremiah the 30th chapter. So now, when you go to look for peace, the peace that you believe that they told you, when you go to look for peace, you're gonna find war. When you go to look for peace, you're gonna find pestilence. You know, when you go to look for peace, you're gonna find famine, and they all gonna be looking for you. The Lord speaks of famine and the forms of destruction as personified, like these are living things, living creatures. Well, in Isaiah 13, it says that pains and sorrow shall take hold of them. And I always emphasize when something takes hold of you, you know, right, like a bear hug. You know, it's not like it's brushing by you. Oh, I didn't see you there. No, it's grabbing you up, right? So imagine a strong man that's grabbing you up. You know, like you maybe you a little on the smaller side, and a big brolic dude just grabs you. You ain't going nowhere, and you can't really wiggle your way out of that. It's not optional. That's how it is when these pangs and sorrows take hold of you. When a bad situation happens, you don't choose to be afraid. The fear just grabs you. You know, all of a sudden you're like, shit. You know, like you may be there, and then the next second you see gunshots fired up. You know, immediately that fear grabs everybody. See, so the scriptures emphasize how bad it's going to be by personifying these emotions and these feelings as though they're real and aggressive.
Yeah, what you said reminded me in Egypt, the darkness was so intense that they could actually feel the darkness. Like you said, it was like gripping them. And I have a precept to land back off of you. This is Jeremiah 28:8. The prophets that have been before me and before thee of old prophesied both against many countries and against great kingdoms, of war and of evil and of pestilence. That is the prophet's job at the end of the day. Now, when you go into the scriptures, there's certain promises about the kingdom and foreshadowing of things to come and beautiful things to come, but that's not going to come without a lot of tribulation and a fiery trial. Either way, see, you're going to go through the trial either way, whether you are part of the Lord's elect or whether you're in the 2/3 club. But if you're going to go through it anyways, you might as well go through it for righteousness' sake, right? and then have the expectation of deliverance and miraculous things happening to get you out of those circumstances, right? But this is like a famous scripture that brothers always bring out. And when you read the context of this chapter, he's responding to Hananiah, which is a false prophet, saying that they were only going to be in Babylon for 2 years. All right. When I believe that it was 70, that was supposed to be the amount of time that was set forth. But he was downplaying in a similar fashion of what you're saying, that they downplaying there's not going to be no Jacob's trouble. It ain't going to be no 70 years. That's the same. He might be Hananiah, the way he's talking, you know. But this is how Jeremiah handled it. He told him the prophets that have been before me, if you're a prophet, right? You're supposed to be a prophet. All of the prophets that preceded us, they all spoke about pestilence and war and bad things happening. So why are you acting like it's so out there or so, far-fetched for it to be a certain period of time that the Lord's going to have us suffer? In the same sense, now we're saying there's going to be a time of trouble. And now we don't have exact numbers like he had in this situation, but we know there is going to be a time of tribulation, however long the Lord has it. It's not going to be too long. It's going to be straight to the point. All right. They're going to drop that MOTB. And then, in the midst of that, all hell's going to be breaking loose. And then leading up to that, we know it's going to be World War III. So the way that we can measure the time diligently is by seeing what's going on. All right. Even if we don't have exact numbers, but it says, Jeremiah 28:9, the prophet which prophesieth of peace When the word of the prophet shall come to pass, then shall the prophet be known that Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua have truly sent him. So for Nate saying that there ain't gonna be no Jacob's trouble, what does he have to say about what's happening in Chicago right now? What does he have to say about what's happening in Portland right now?
You wish you could delete that video right about now.
Right. And the thing is that, you see, the internet is forever, man. All right. And not only that, the words of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua is forever. And he put it on mine to like, yeah, we like scribes too.
Oh, there's a scripture that says it's better to slip on pavement than to slip with the tongue.
Yeah.
And it says that like you were saying, because once that word comes out, you can't delete it from the minds of people.
Yeah.
So even if the internet, if the video was down, it's gonna be right here.
Mm-hmm. You can apologize, but we still gonna remember. And you never apologize. When does he ever apologize for something he said? You know? So hey, if you pop up with a video of him apologizing, then hey, I'm proven wrong. But for the most part, he's a proud individual. You don't see him apologizing when he goes off, when he gets corrected by the real prophets of the Lord, man. Because he's not a real prophet of the Lord, man. How he operates is not of that of a prophet of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. And even somebody that's in the world, that's not even in the truth, was able to confound him. You see? And if you really had the truth, you wouldn't have to debate anyways. See, a debate is on the insinuation that, well, you can maybe convince me on other contrary to what I believe now. So then if we have the truth, then what would be a purpose of us debating at all? We don't have to debate. We know we have the truth. There is no convincing us otherwise of what we already know. Because if it's the truth, there's nothing contrary to it. Nothing can come against it. So what's the purpose of a debate? It's a waste of time. But the reason these guys go and debate is because they want attention. It brings them money. All right. And ultimately, they don't have the truth. And that's why somebody could come up and make a fool out of him like that. All right. Just like Jeremiah made a fool out of Hananiah. All right. And I'm going to read a few more verses down just to show you what happened to him. Then Hananiah, the prophet, took the yoke from off the prophet Jeremiah's neck and break it. Yeah, he thought he was doing something. You know, he thought he was doing something spectacular. Oh, give me that yoke. I'm going to take it off. You're wrong, Jeremiah, right? And Hananiah spake in the presence of all the people, saying, thus saith the Lord, even so will I break the yoke of Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, from the neck of all nations. So just because somebody says, thus saith the Lord, or just somebody says that they're mentioning, he was speaking in the name of the Lord too. But he was wrong, all right? So he wasn't truly in the name of the Lord. It was all surface level. So just because somebody speaks and they say that they're a man of the Lord, or they're speaking on behalf of the Lord, doesn't mean that they are. What's going to define that is time. That's why Jeremiah said, the prophet that prophesies of peace, when it comes to pass, then will be known if he's a prophet or not.
Yeah, Moses said that too.
That's it. Yep. And it says, king of Babylon, from the neck of all nations within the space of 2 full years. And the prophet Jeremiah went his way.
So he was basically saying that the Babylonian Empire was going to go down in 2 years. Because he said the neck of all nations.
That's bold.
Bugging out.
That's a bold talk, man. Like, he just knew 2 years they're going to be, and they were on top, man. That's a very bold and dangerous statement to make, you know? So it says, then the word of Yahweh came unto Jeremiah, the prophet, after that Hananiah, the prophet, had broken the yoke from off the neck of the prophet Jeremiah, saying, go and tell Hananiah, saying, thus saith Yahweh, thou hast broken the yokes of wood, but thou shalt make for them yokes of iron. For thus saith the Yahweh of hosts, the God of Israel, I have put a yoke of iron upon the neck of all these nations, that they may serve Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon. And they shall serve him. And I have given him the beasts of the field also. Like, Nebuchadnezzar is essentially who Donald Trump is right now. Running shit. Okay,
He's king of Babylon.
King of Babylon, right? And he's acting as a cruel lord. Hey, Nebuchadnezzar was cruel. Okay, and what he was doing, they were kicking ass and taking names, man. Any nation that stand up against them, they were decimated. Because the Lord ordained for them to have a certain time. Okay? Just like right now. Trump says going to Chicago, and it happens. And guess what? Certain Jakes that's in those cities, they're saying they're glad that it's happening.
Oh, and just for clarity, the brother's saying in the stead, okay? We know Nebuchadnezzar was an Assyrian. We know Trump is an Edomite. We know he's not saying this Nebuchadnezzar coming back.
No,
just for anybody out there who may,
yeah, exactly. The water. Yeah, definitely not saying that. But you know, in the spirit, he's moving in the same sense, right? Just like Babylon, this is not actual ancient Babylon, but it's operating in the same sense.
Yeah.
Right. So if Trump says go to Chicago, and do this and that, it's done. Okay, we see it unfolding right now, and like I was saying, you have certain Jakes in them cities that they're glad that it's happening. They're like, damn, like we were in terror of our own people, and that goes to show you how wicked Jake is, man.
Lucky, I'm sorry, bro.
No,
When you said that, that just reminded me in the book of Maccabees, it says, when Antiochus came there, it said that once they gave him credence and he to let his messenger in, that's when he basically pillaged the village, right? Completely destroyed it. So like you were saying, they're like, oh, come on in and fix the cities.
Yeah.
But once he gets in there, it's gonna be, different.
Exactly. Because it seems good now because he's putting a foot on wicked niggas' neck, but they're gonna eventually show their real horns and come for everybody. And even then, they had like them naked babies in the street. They're not talking about that. But Jake has been such a terror to their own people that for them to even bring a little bit of law and order, which they should have been had that, they let it out of hand on purpose, just so they could come down with the hammer on the right, with the Republicans, right? We're reading on, finishing up this chapter, Jeremiah 28:15. Then said the prophet Jeremiah unto Hananiah, the prophet, hear now, Hananiah, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua hath not sent thee, but Yahweh hath not sent thee, but thou makest this people to trust in a lie. Therefore, thus saith the Lord, behold, I will cast thee from off the face of the earth. This year thou shalt die, because thou hast taught rebellion against the Lord. So if you're saying there's no Jacob's trouble, that's teaching rebellion against the Lord, because that's his will. All right, they'll say that like we have an obsession with, we have an obsession with the Lord's will. So if the Lord wants death and destruction, we want it too. If the Lord wants to see Jacob's trouble and Jake catch a lot of hell, we want to see it too, because there's a reason for it. The Lord just doesn't do things for no reason. Jacob's trouble is coming because of the wickedness of our people, man. And that's something that they don't want to acknowledge. See, everybody wants to play the victim card, but you ain't playing the victim card, singing about adultery and being a ubiquitous. All right. All right. You ain't playing it then. But then when the judgment comes, everybody want to act like they're a saint. When the bodies drop, everybody want to go to the funeral and act like, grandma going to be up there on stage. Roger, he was such a good man. He was a good son. Meanwhile, he was a goddamn demon terrorizing the whole neighborhood. And low key, most people in the neighborhood is rejoicing that the nigga dead. Okay? So listen, Jake doesn't have no balance or sense of judgment, and that's Esau's fault too. Because he put you in that stupefied mind frame with these dumbass education systems, man. Miseducation system.
On that point, there was a news article that I saw. You had a dude that had a wife and kid, but he was seeing another guy's woman on the low. And one day the boyfriend came and caught them and blew his ass away. Now they put his picture with his family on the freaking news poster talking about, this man lost his life. He's now leaving a mother and daughter or whatnot behind. I'm like, the dude's committing adultery. What are you trying to make it seem like he's a victim for? The scriptures tell you jealousy is the rage of a man. What do you think was going to happen? You got a wife and kids. What do you think? I mean, if you're gonna be, doing that in your situation, which probably wasn't wise for him, but if he's gonna be doing that, why are you gonna do it with a married woman, a woman that already has a man? That's where you went wrong. That's where the judgment came in.
That's right. Right. And that's the thing. Jake doesn't have no understanding of judgment. A man will lash out because of injustice that's happening to him, and it's all still on him. Nobody takes accountability. Well, he ain't have to go that far. Yeah, wisdom would dictate. See, if that had happened to one of us, we would just like let it go and give it to the Lord. You know what? Fuck that bitch anyways. The Lord gonna give me something else. And the Lord gonna deal with her anyways. I don't gotta take things into my own hands. But these men, they're not spiritual, they carnal. So sometimes they're gonna take it into their own hands. And you understand it. Like, you know what? In the mindset that he's in, he's just reacting to the situation. That's why you have something called crimes of passion. He found out about this, and jealousy is the rage of the man, like you said. So naturally, you're going to react like that, but then they'll justify it and make the woman out to be the victim. Like the man, he was just supposed to bend over and take it. He was just supposed to get the short end of the stick and not have no recourse. So if there's going to be no justice for him, what is he going to do? He's going to take it into his own hands. And in Jacob's trouble, that's what men are going to be doing. All you women that think you got away and you got it off on them, fuck these niggas, singing about Meg Thee Stallion in the club. listen, them niggas gonna show up in Jacob's trouble. All right. And they might show up in numbers. Okay. Or they might just find you in the back alley by themselves. And what you think he's gonna do? Think he's gonna take you back in and be all kind after you don't win and destroyed his life? Made a fool out of him?
Then you out here doing TikTok videos while he's in jail.
Yep. Bragging about it. Having a child with a man, this is just commonplace. A woman will have a child with a man and then say that she's gonna go out of her way to make sure that the son is a sodomite.
Yeah.
She's gonna purposefully do it. Just to destroy you, you already destroyed it, just to make your life even harder and try to embarrass you some more.
To spite him.
Yeah.
To spite him, exactly. That's the scorn of a woman. You know, and I was speaking with a brother this week about it, that women, they're not stronger than us. So the only way they can get it off, they have to get into like very devious methods. Things that a normal person would just, shun. No, that's way too far. And they'll go into that. Because that's the only weapon they have, because they're not strong enough. It can't physically come and beat you up. They're the lesser vessel. So what do? They team up with Esau. They team up with the sisterhood of traveling pants. Okay. And they go ahead and get into all types of wickedness of how to get you back, get their lick back. And they'll crash out. They'll destroy their whole family, their whole children. Children will die, grandmothers will cry. Okay. In order for them to get a little lick back. That's an ultra level of petty. But I'm gonna read this last verse and give it to the next brother. This is Jeremiah 28:17.
Yeah, but actually, no, since you said that, that's why the Most High set up the order in which he did.
Yep.
What Esau did, and the reason why it says that women rule over them is because he really, if you look at what Esau did, it's not like he could just easily put women on a pedestal. He had to lower the man. That's why he did what he did during slavery. That's why he promotes the image of men that he does today. If you notice, the trend has been going from less masculine energy to more of a feminist in the main lead role, and the man is playing support. The man is like scared of his wife. Like she's dictating shit. Oh, you don't want to? Huh?
Movies showed up.
Yeah, movies show that. Oh, you don't want to make her mad. She gets mad, and everybody's like, "Oh my gosh, no, please, my wife is mad." But it's not like in the reverse. You don't really see that. Now she's taking the lead role. What's that chick in Marvel? Captain Marvel. Captain Marvel, that's the chick, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. What the fuck? If any of you told anybody the name Captain Marvel, they're not expecting to see a woman.
Actually, it's really a dude, but it can go vice versa.
Oh, fuck.
Actually, even the TV show The Boys, a couple of characters in there are actually supposed to be dudes. Like Stormfront, I don't know how much you watch. Stormfront is actually a dude in the comics, and the chick that pops everybody's head, Victoria Newman, in the comics, that's actually a dude.
Yeah, see? But that's what they do. And you know what? That actually goes back to witchcraft. Feminism goes back to witchcraft. The term witch, I remember I was watching that video on it. It's an acronym for women in total control of herself, right? Or woman in total control of herself. That's the acronym of witch. And that goes back to feminism. Okay, the roots of feminism are in witchcraft. I did a lesson on that, and the reason is because they said that when you go into the Abrahamic religion, as they call it, women were quote unquote oppressed. The perspective of feminism is that the Most High is an oppressor and Satan is the liberator, because he came and liberated Eve from the oppression of the Most High. And that's why he came and told her, you can also be like God. You don't got to stay in this oppressed way. That's their perspective on it. So in order for women to be able to have roles of importance, they had to do it in the left-hand side. All right. That's where they could give women lead roles. They could, be in have these witch covens and so on. They could lead these things. It was had to be in witchcraft. That's the only sector that allowed that. And that's why that whole feminism basically goes back into that. And now they basically pushed it all over. So like you were saying, in order for a woman to basically have authority or power over a man, compass a man, she got to weaken him. And they use it by dumbing down the man and using their beauty. That's one of the reasons why Esau over-sexualized society. Because by over-sexualizing society, women now have a power that never really existed, right? When women, knew their place and men weren't always only thinking about sex, women didn't have power. When you go to these other countries, that actually accomplish things, the men over there, they don't wake up thinking, I'm just about to get some buns. You know, what would you do for a condom? You know, that's not what men are waking up thinking about. They're waking up like, yo, I gotta provide for my family. I gotta work. I gotta bring these things home. Here, dudes wake up and their whole life it's oriented around buns. You know, how can I get some cheeks? You know, how can I get this guy's girl's cheeks? You know, but because of that, it makes them weak. So if they see a beautiful woman, since all they care about is how good she looks and they want to get into that, she can manipulate them however she wants. That's why a freaking demon can come and tell a dude, his dumbass, and say, you want to, what was that? You want to talk to me or you want my number? You got to give me like, what was it, $10 or something like that, or $20? And this dumbass nigga did it. Talking about some, damn, all right. So he sent her the money and then she didn't even give him the number. She gave him his, her Instagram. Bro, that Instagram is for free. You could have found that online. And you know where you would ended up? In the back of a long ass line, shit longer than the new Jordans dropping, a long ass line, and she ain't checking those damn DMs. She ain't even gonna accept your follow request. So she just pulled the money out your ass, and this nigga talking about, all right, am I valid now? She said, I'm not, I don't know. So it's because Esau created a product like him that gives these women the false sense of power. But when they come over here, they see it doesn't exist. That's why they be like, oh, you guys hate women. We don't hate women. But you're not gonna come out here because we're not in that illusion. We're not gonna look at you as, damn, yo, she wants some. No. That's not how it works. Why do you think in foreign countries they got fine looking, beautiful women, but they're like normal? They're not stuck up. You know where they get stuck up? On social media. Because they know shit in their country, dudes gonna look at them like they're regular. Like, man, bitch, if you don't stop that shit, right? But the second they get online, then instantly, all they gotta do is post a provocative picture or video, and they got 37K followers, 137K followers, 807K followers. You know where those followers are coming from? Here, the Western society. That's where those followers are coming from. Those followers are not coming from their own native country. If it was, they wouldn't need to be posting it up over here. So they do that because Esau has weakened the mind of the men. And by disrupting that society like that, you know, how many Moabites do you see on OnlyFans? You know, how many Elamites, true Elamites, do you see on OnlyFans? So who's majority of people that are driving OnlyFans? Edomite looking women, and Jakes. Why do you think that is? So Esau designed the system to affect you because he knows Jake loved ass, right? They love women, they love beautiful women. That's in your nature. So he exploits that and then gives them this, once again, that false sense of power. So going back to what you said, the woman knows. She knows that, okay, this guy's going to simp over me, so I'm going to take advantage of that. I can't go against him fist to fist. But nowadays they've been so drunk off of that false power that they think they can. Then every so often they'll get a reality check, you know, and then they'll calm down. They'll get a factory reset for, you know, a couple weeks, and then they'll come right back to their bullshit. So when that's why we're saying, did you on mute? Oh, I thought I heard something. That's why we're saying, these are the final warnings, because when the Lord brings that, when them troops come, like you've seen videos of how they interact with people, they have full authority in their mind to do what they got to do, whether you're a man, woman, or child. Ezekiel 9:5, and the Lord is going to put that spirit upon them. So you're going to try your you know, it's like a dude going with a gun with no bullets in it, you know, acting tough, and he's pulling the trigger and nothing is coming forth. That's how these women are going to look. They're going to go up there thinking, you know, shit is all sweet out here. When there's an altercation, who's the first and loudest that you're gonna hear? The black demon, the big back black woman. Because she has to be the one to step in to solve everything. You know, she got to be the one to show you big mama's here. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, stop, don't do that, don't do this. Here it is, men are in the midst of a heated debate. She's gonna be the loud one to get in there. When somebody smacks her black ass into a chair somewhere, now it's a problem. But the Most High is gonna fix and remedy all that.
Hey, Jacob's trouble is going to be smacker whole season. That's what it's going to be. All right. And all you women are going to get put back in your place. And tying it back in what we've been speaking about, IUIC, the reason why they say there's no Jacob's trouble, because that's a women-friendly message. Women don't want to hear about Jacob's trouble. They want to hear about that. The only scripture they'll ever quote is that Jeremiah 29, which, again, we love that scripture too. But that scripture applies to the elect. All right, not those of you that are trying to bury your head in the sand and avoid this train wreck that's coming to hit you, man. This 18-wheeler that's coming to hit you, and you tied up on the road like in the old Western movies. All right? You tied up on the train tracks, and we telling you it's coming. You're like, nah. I'm gonna just stay on these tracks. I'll be good. See? But now we in a time where it's not like something that's far off. We saying, yo, it's gonna happen. Like, give it some time. Watch, the Lord is gonna do it. It's right in your face now. It's right in your face now in 2025, man. And we only got 2 months left of this year. You think 2026 is gonna get better? You think 2026 is gonna get better? This year flew by, man. So the Lord is hastening these times, man. So you false prophets out there, okay, that are not speaking, there ain't gonna be no JT, ain't gonna be no JT. Well, it's right here, right now. What do you have to say about what's happening? It ain't a matter of, oh, we could debate this, or which we avoid debates anyways, but now it's, what do you have to say about what's actually happening? They're quiet about it, or they'll try to wiggle around. Yeah, we always been saying this, you know. But again, we got the receipts, man. Our brothers got the videos. Brothers got hard drives out there, and we're gonna pull them. The Lord gonna have it come out when the time is right. You're gonna look stupid again. That's why their congregation is falling apart, man. Because it's that woman-friendly message that's gonna lead to many being destroyed, man. Simpism leads to death. That's the problem. Simpism is a mental disease, man. Okay, and it's a lack of self-respect that a man has, and a lack of dignity to be a simp. All right, to bend and break your integrity in order to try to please women. Okay, so you're gonna give a friendly message. We don't give a damn over here. All right, when it comes to your feelings. All right, because that's not preparing you. That's not real love, man. You know, like when you training in any martial arts, you think the sensei is gonna go easy on you? You think he's just gonna let you slide all the time? Nobody's gonna go to that school, man, because there's no discipline. You know, it doesn't matter who you are. When you step into that school, all right, you got to come humble. It don't matter if you the damn DA. It don't matter if you the county executive. All types of people who go in that school. You got to be humble. So the same thing with the truth, man. Y'all got to come in and be humble and receive the message for what it is. All right, this raw truth for what it is, man. All right. That's why the scriptures talks about the sweet and the bitter. Got to be able to take both. But we're going to speak about the glory of the kingdom. We're going to speak about, you know, all the infinite pleasures of the kingdom that the Lord is going to give us, man. All right. The Lord said he has many mansions. All right. Let alone, you know, all of the beauty of this earth. Even if it's in its defiled state, we can see how beautiful the earth is, man. So knowing that that's coming, then hey, you're gonna have to deal with this trouble that's coming. You have to deal with the bitter too. And we in the time of the bitter, okay? We in the time of the great humbling. And it ain't gonna get better, all right? The final warning is going out, and the watchmen will continue to keep bringing it out, all right?
I think I've had a point. Yeah, I just want to add back to what you're saying with, you know, women being exalted. Lord's gonna like to do a lesson. That's what I'm talking to our brothers about. Because when you go into those aid programs back in the day to get the man out the house, one of the things that happened back then is it was very hard for the Israelite man to get a job. So when you had those programs where, hey, we'll give aid to the woman, but you can't have a man in the house, those things would lead to eventually, because yes, social media and things like that are a factor of why women look down upon men. But another factor of that is also that get the man out the house program. Because once you get the man out the house, you're mentally telling the person that, hey, you don't need him. The government will supply you with need. The government will supply you with aid. And then back, like I was saying, back then, it was very hard for the Israelite man, the black man, to get a job. So if he's struggling to get a job, normal things happen, or normal circumstances happen between people where eventually an argument, something will happen, because maybe you will want to come back around his kids and say, no, you know, I'm really trying, I'm really doing. And eventually maybe an argument happens. It's like, man, you ain't shit. You ain't doing nothing. I don't need you. That argument happens, and then what? It leads to looking down upon it. Because like, you ain't doing nothing. You're not being a man. I believe in, I think it's Sirach, where it says if a woman maintain a husband, she gets angry. So here she feels like, yo, I'm the leader and protector of the house because I'm the one that's supplying everything. I'm the one that's doing everything. That's why you have a lot of football players, right? Or just sports players in general. But I pay attention more to football. you hear those football players talk a lot about their mother. You rarely hear them talk about their father.
Right.
Maybe some here and there, but most of the time they talk about their either their mother or their grandmother, their auntie, some woman in their life. But yeah, my mother or my auntie, yeah, she had like 5 of us, and I had to be the man of the house, and you have to take care. It's like, goddamn, it's like almost like, I'm not trying to make it sound weird, but it's almost like she's the woman and the younger man, he's like the father almost, because like he's supposed to, that's like incorrect. It's like very weird dynamic there.
The husband. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's how a lot of them grow up. And that eventually makes them look at what the mother puts her in a high position, because there's no man in the house, which is the true authority. So you look at her as the authority and you see how hardworking she is, what she's doing. So what that gives you an affinity, a love to like, I got to give back to, I got to this and that. So some people, because I think there was an individual, he played for the Saints, Jimmy Graham. He actually reached out and wanted to find out about his father. I think like there was some, like Oprah had something where like, it's not like a TED Talk, but something like that. He wants to go out and find his father. Very few Israelite men actually want to find their father, because what? The woman will usually make their father sound like a bad person. I'm about to be long-winded about this, but going back to those aid programs, that breeded eventually to where Israelite man had a very low esteem about himself, because I'm not able to provide for my family. So eventually, even the video I was watching said that eventually they would want to stay away from the families, because I ain't shit. I can't do nothing. And then eventually that would breed in the woman where, well, I don't need a man. Why do I need him? Because the government is aiding me. I'm getting everything I need. And then eventually with the children, they would look at the mother as the protector, the provider, everything, instead of the father. So eventually when they go out in the world and they see male authority, and hey, maybe that same dynamic where the father's not there, but hey, this guy is in his child's life. He's maybe a teacher or something. That's when you see a lot of in public schools where children be like, man, don't fucking talk to me like that, and all that type of shit. Hey, my daddy. Why do they have that type of mentality? Because some of them have never seen male authority. They've only seen the dynamic of a woman. And actually, a lot of times, my memory's coming back to me. A lot of times, most of the time, you were more afraid of the female teacher than you were of the male teacher. Why? Because psychologically, you're thinking of your mother. You're thinking of her as authority. And a lot of times, those Israelite women that are teachers would be very masculine, very authoritative. Because you have to be, especially Israelite children. It's like, oh, it's rude. So that would eventually psychologically, when your mother is pretty much the everything, the authority, the head of the household, you go out into the world, you see any male authority, fuck, who the hell are you? But you see a woman, calm down, get a little bit more, want to listen more to her. So that whole getting the man out the house program psychologically had effects later to what you're seeing today. It's not something that, oh, well, it got over. No, that has effects today, as well as like the brother going to social media and all these things. All these things together have an effect to where you have today. Because sorry. Oh, you need the charger?
I got one.
Because today you have to ask yourself, right? Like we was watching the movie Sinners, and back then things was a little bit more together. So how do we go from Sinners to what we have now? There's a lot of societal things that happened that were pushed that eventually led to where we are today. The woman didn't just out of nowhere just sit there and say, oh, the man ain't shit here, this and that. Because what? They were together. But government programs, things in social media and things like that eventually pushed it away. I believe there was an individual that went to Elder Yashawamba. Oh, he was talking about last night with the Dallas brothers. And an individual went to Elder Yashawamba and them. He told him how Snoop Dogg said the thing, we don't love these hoes. That eventually made that dynamic where men have a mindset, give a fuck about this.
Yeah.
Now we're not saying that you simp over, but you're supposed to have a type of care for your woman. It's not supposed to be reckless. I don't give a damn about her. She can do what she wants, because when you hear a man says we don't love these hoes, she's on. So I'm a hoe now. Oh, so you don't care about me? So now that paints a picture in my mind. Well, he don't give a damn about me. I can just do whatever the hell I want. And then now that what brings the separation. So there are also a factor in the dynamic between men and women separating as well.
And that's what a pimp does. And Snoop, he all embodies that whole pimp culture and shit. He's a big part of pushing it. But that's in the scriptures. It says not to be a whoremonger. You see? So, but why is that? Because it devalues all of us. And that's how you know the state of a nation when you look at their women. See? when you look at us as a nation, we're destroyed because, and you could tell because look at how our women just defy us openly. You see, they don't have no fear. You go over to Dubai, our women are more in order for Ishmael than it would be for us, man. Because they just
Because Ishmael don't play that shit.
Yeah, Ishmael don't play that. Don't try that shit in Dubai, bitch.
He gonna bring out
Yeah.
that study shit.
A bitch that's a stripper, she gonna go to Dubai and dress like she's a virgin.
Yeah.
You know, but we know what y'all do in Dubai, anyways. All right.
The thing came out with Sweetie.
Yeah,
Doing some
sweetie.
stuff over there.
She's called a yacht girl. You know, meaning that basically she's a high level escort for men. You know.
Don't want to follow the laws what's in the Bible. That's why we are so far behind with the order and the structure that the Lord set up. Because if you go to the scriptures, it tells you in 1 Corinthians chapter 11, verse 3, it says, But I will have you know that the head of every man is Yahushua, and the head of the head of the woman is the man, and the head,
Brother could probably pull it.
yeah,
Wait, which is it? 1 Corinthians?
1 Corinthians chapter 11, verse 3. Blocked from my eyesight.
Make a point though.
Yeah, so with that order, it will give women the ability to fall back based upon them listening to the scripture. All right, got it.
Yeah. 1 Corinthians chapter 11, verse 3. But I would have you know that the head of every man is Yahushua, and the head of the woman is the man, and the head of Yahushua is the Most High.
Right. So that structure right there shows that when we come out as men, we have a leader as well. We prophets, we adhere to the fact that Yahushua is our head. But women don't adhere or listen to the fact that the head of every woman is man. If they would have known that, it's mainly for our people. If they would know that, they wouldn't have this role of thinking that they don't need a man. Right? Because they actually put the Yahushua ahead of their own husband. You know? And I'm in a household that I have.
But they put Jesus.
Yeah.
They put Jesus.
They put Jesus. My household, I've been running it for 20-something years now. She still put Jesus for me. Not even Yahushua, like you said, the big baby white Jesus. Right? And it's been a struggle throughout the whole time, the ordeal, because of that. Right? For the children don't respect me as they should. You know? And it's causing a whole damper in the way that we live our lives as Israelites. As Israelite men, and the whole structure is just discombobulated based upon that one building block, taking the man out the foundation. Right? So you're building your house upon stubble, straw, without the founder or the foundation, the house. Man.
Hey, actually, since you said that, let's get Proverbs 18:10 real quick, and then also Isaiah 33:6, because just like the bar said, that foundation, which is going to be key, the water, that foundation is going to be key, because ultimately, it may sound contrary, but really, in order to really save your family, you gotta, if they're not in the spirit of following Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, but they're also not being demons, it doesn't matter what they want. Okay, the Lord is the one that's going to deliver you. And if he'll have mercy, your loved ones. So keep that in mind when you're thinking, oh, I got to go to camp, but because of your woman, you're not pulling up at camp. Guess what? She's not going to be the one to feed you in a famine, right? The Lord is. So whose work or who are you going to obey? And that's why, like we said, the final warnings, that goes to people in the world and in the truth. Because we're held to different standards, but we're still held to a standard, right? The people in the world are far gone. They got a long way to make up. Okay. But people in this truth, man, you got to make sure you're not falling back in that race either. You got to stay with the pack, so to speak. And if you're not staying with the pack, then you are susceptible, to getting cut. The Lord sees you, you fall, instead of keeping your stride, you're falling back, you're falling back, you're falling back. And everybody look back at you and find out that the reason you're slowing down in the race because you're not even looking in front of you, looking over here at some fine chick, some fine shit on the sideline doing some cheerleader shit.
She ain't shit.
Yeah, she ain't shit. And we wondering what the fuck, what's up? Because we're all following Yahushua. And here it is, you slowing down because you running this way and you looking over here. What's gonna happen when you do that? You're gonna lose your sense of direction and you're gonna run into a pole or you're gonna run off the track. And at that point, you disqualified.
They used to show in movies when dudes see some. Actually, I forgot what movie it was. It was some Spanish chick. It was an older movie. But like dudes was in cars and when they saw it pass by, it was like, and they was like, God damn.
Can't be that stupid.
Yeah. Because it like overrides their senses. And you know what? That stems from a lack of discipline.
Yeah.
Right? Because if you really think about it, in that moment, people don't think. You know what I'm saying? When they see fine shit, they stop thinking. And that's when everything goes downhill. If you were to keep thinking, even when you see fine shit, that's when you can stand back and say, you're talking BS. I don't care how fine you look. Get the hell out of here. Or you say, well, who am I going to look at? The fine shit on the right or Yahushua in the front? Let me actually think for a second. Okay, what do I actually gain from looking at fine shit on the right? If you are in this race, think about the scenario. You're actually running on the track. She's not on the track. If you look at her and you're wasting time looking at her, you might as well pursue her. And if you're going to pursue her, you got to stop running the race, get off the track, and go over there and take your chances. So you're basically risking salvation to do that. Or are you going to just ignore that, knowing that, well, if I'm not going to go all the way with it, why not just focus on Yahushua over here and now risk my salvation? Because if you want to play the fence, you want to play both sides, what's going to happen is you're looking here and there's nothing that's going to come out of it. You're just going to look, but you're going to risk running off of the track. You're going to risk slowing down and getting cut. So it's a final warning for everybody, because when the Lord brings judgment, it's already decided, and you're not the deciding factor. You're not going to be the one to tell the angels, oh, well, yeah, I'm such and such, I've been, I'm somebody, I've been doing the work. I've been laboring for such and such years. Here's my spiritual resume. And then they're going to look at the warrant or the court order the Lord gave them and say, yeah, you on the judgment list. Now what? Oh, no. I think there must have been an error. I said I'm somebody, I'm not your English teacher. I've been doing yada, yada. That's that, Lord, have we not prophesied in your name? And the Lord going to say, and the fact that you're coming to me with that mindset is already proven why you're going to be destroyed. You know why? Because you didn't examine yourself. You were so out of touch with your spiritual standing with the Lord that you actually thought that I was going to deliver you when I came back. The Lord is going to lay it out to you. And I always say this, Yahushua gets very angry because his instructions are very simple. The Lord does not overcomplicate things. He tells you very plainly what he wants. He tells you when to do it. He tells you how to do it. All you got to do is do it. If you cannot do that, then he gets very pissed off. Because what's the reason? If it's bare stupidity, you can ask for wisdom. But instead, you're asking for other things. So the Lord lays out what his requirements are. Now, if you don't follow those and you're not examining yourself to see, are you constantly following those or evaluating yourself? It's gonna be to your surprise, you're getting destroyed. And you're gonna wonder why. And he's gonna tell you the fact that you didn't even know why you're getting destroyed is the very reason why you're getting destroyed, because you weren't examining yourself. If you were examining yourself, you would have caught all these things and fixed it without getting to this point. But if you come in here thinking I'm about to deliver you and I'm here to destroy you, you're doing something wrong. So that final warning goes for all of us, because the judgment is going to begin at the house of the Most High. You got it?
One quick thing I want to say, add to you. Hey, if you follow Yahushua, all them women gonna want you anyways when the time comes, man. All them women gonna be clamoring to get with the men of the Lord. So by following them, you're devaluing yourself. You gotta think of it like that, man. You're devaluing yourself, man. Whereas following Yahushua, you're gonna be pure gold and you're gonna be the value anyways. There's a million of them. There's only a few of us, man. Millions of them. There's only a few of us, man.
Salaki, I think Haran had a point. You got it. When you got a point, just on mute so we can hear you. Because in case I don't. Yeah.
So, going to the point back to how these basically, and that's pretty much what that was, just right. Like Shohan said, you know, basically breeding men. They're not even, raising men. They're breeding men to take on this mama's boy personality type shit that they don't grow up with men. Right? They have no strong unit in the house. They don't have a rock. So that's a lot of people, even in the truth. Right? That's why Yahweh Yahweh Shai is pretty much everything to us. Right? But back to how women are so out of order. Levi Shore made a point about how basically they'll turn, they become such demonic entities that they'll turn your children on you. All right, that's a form of high level witchcraft. Okay, rebellious women, as the scripture says, disobedience is as a sin of witchcraft. And these women are bred to be disobedient. Look how they dress, look how they talk, look how they dress. Men are stronger, way more significant than women. But yet, these women are behaviorally have power over men, physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally. They talk like they got the real power. They are the man of society, so to speak. And that's rebellion, man. All right, it's your head. All right, that's like us going against the Heavenly Father and what happened to us. Okay? So you women are going to fall through the same punishment as is written in the book about Micah. Okay? See that as my enemy shall see it. Right? Ultimately, your result, the result of your actions is going to be nobody wants you when you want to be wanted. Right? Nobody's going to be coming after you, looking for you when the time comes. All right? We're shifting into those times. You got men right now who are deciding, no, I want to be single. I want to, have my own shit going on. I don't want to have no females around me. I'm good. I'm good right now. The way my life is set up, I'm good. Right? And that's because times are hard. Okay? Times are hard, so women are looking for help. That job that you had that was paying you $200,000, $300,000, guess what? You got fired. So now you ain't got that shit no more. Okay? The home that you're living in that you want to live, March, you want to go live in Miami somewhere or have this house in the Hamptons and all these stupid shit that these people fantasize about. Guess what? That shit's no longer. You can't even upkeep that. The little nice fancy little BMW that you be driving and flex on niggas making it seem like you rich and you some back shit. Guess what? That shit's about to be repoed now. Okay? So now what? Now what are you gonna do? Where are you gonna go? You're gonna go back to the same niggas that you was talking shit about. Social media is taking it away from you, which is your power source. What are you gonna do then? Okay, and like before you were saying, this is a thing that's spreading throughout the whole entire world. A lot of these women, you go to stay in different countries, they're humble. But the moment social media gets to them, they think that they're the hottest shit in the world. Because most of them look way better than the chicks over here. But they don't act anything like these chicks over here. So some here, the influence of the chicks over here gets to them. And a cousin down in Ghana, he was telling me that shit. He was like, yo, man, them girls over here, this generation is different, bro. I said, what? He said, bro, social media got these girls going crazy. The shit that they wear, the kind of vibe they got. Like, if you don't got money and you're not about to spend on them, they're not giving you no time of the day. I said, oh shit, that's like over here in America. All right, and it reminded me of Revelation 17:1. It says, and there came one of the seven angels which had the seven vials, and talked with me, saying unto me, come hither, and I will shew unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters. Right? Meaning they have power over the whole entire planet. All right, through their influence, whether it be politically, whether it be religiously, or whether it be militarily, all right, or financially, whatever the case may be, America has a strong upon the minds of people of this earth. Okay?
My name is Sabai. Shekai means God in Hebrew.
That's it.
I'm running with them, and next time I come, I'll catch up with y'all.
All right, no doubt.
Brother. Go ahead, man.
Says, vacation. Okay. So that is like vibration started from here. It is from here. Right? And it's referred to these different countries now. The concept of women being equal to men. It started from here. We go to the east, they got their work. They know what is expected. That's why, like, you say, men are not feeding for pussy over there. They're not feeding for blunts. They don't wake up with blunts on their head. Because they're surrounded by blood. It's an abundance. The abundance mindset.
Yeah, it's falling out their pocket. You gotta.
Yeah, that's gonna sound like General Hyman. Hyman talking about if you got money, come over here, guys. Look at this, looking crazy as fuck. Right? They're not saying, oh, if you want to learn the truth and all the prophecies and be ready for what's coming, they say, if you want pussy, come over here. Listen to the shit they teach you. All right? And you got niggas following after this dumbass shit. It's crazy, man. All right, it says verse 3. So he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet-colored beast. Again, the woman, full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns. And the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand, full of abominations and filthiness of her fornication. Okay? And that's why, was it last year or the year before? They sent this whole Kamala Harris to Africa to go influence those countries over there. We're going to get paid if you support that a little bit more. But what is that about, man? And it was a hard stop to that. They say, we don't believe in all that. Stay your ass over there with your bullshit. All right? We don't want your nonsense over here. And that's how everyone's supposed to be, man. But you got to say, oh, I consented on them. Oh, it's fine. They come in for a little bit to come and fix things. That's after they all fucked up. So you need them to come and fix it. And they come in and make it worse. And now you begging them to leave, and now they're not leaving. They're not going nowhere. Right? You allow the hoe to come into your house thinking that she can come and fix something. Why would you even believe that a hoe don't fix anything in the first place? Verse 5, it says, mystery Babylon the queen of the earth. Okay? So America is that mystery Babylon the Great, man. That mother of harlots. Okay? It says, and I saw the woman drunken with the blood of the saints and with the blood of the martyrs of Yahushua. And when I saw her, I wondered with great admiration. Okay, so that's the same vibes that these niggas be having when they see these women. Like Bros was saying, you on the track running, but then you see this chick passing by. The main reason why you stop to look at her is because she's dressed provocatively. And that's against the laws. Right? She's not even covered up. She got her whole shit hanging left and right. Takes his ass. It's like it's the style of the season. You know, just look like a whore. You see what I'm saying? So that's the first thing that you look at and say, oh shit, there, that's an appetite right there. You build an appetite for that right there on the spot. So now you gotta go, feed off of those appetites. So that's what leads you to go towards that girl or that woman or whatever the case may be. Oh, come here, you shortly or something. You know? But if you was covered up and all, you can't see no shapes and sizes and none of that, you're not gonna be really falling off track. See, so in a way, you gotta actually build a barricade in your head to protect yourself from this bullshit. You see what I'm saying? Because you fall victim like. You know what I'm saying? You're not even going to sleep, you're just going to fall. All right? And that's what these women are designed for. And then they use the children, like Aisha was saying, they use the children against the men. Okay? And that goes against the scriptures. Let's get that real quick. In the book of Leviticus, chapter 18, and verse 21, it says, and thou shalt not let any of thy seed pass through the fire to Molech, neither shalt thou profane the name of thy power. I am the Lord Yahweh thy power, man. So when you got these women pushing their children to be doing this ubiquitous shit, that's likened onto passing your children through the fire to sacrifice onto Molech. Okay? Because you know, as an Israelite, the Most High is against that shit. So you're profaning the Heavenly Father's name by sending your children to partake in this bullshit, man. And the Clinton Foundation, they actually had something called something, but it was Molech. It literally had Molech in it. And it was about these child sacrifice and Pizzagate bullshit. It was all about that. They literally named it after the deity Molech. Do you believe that? But yeah, you don't see that this is all Babylon the Great? Huh? When your politicians and your people who are in high positions all have to be sworn in to be Masonic and engage in all this satanic behavior, man. The rulers of your society are all Satanists. All of them. Not one is exempt. Okay, it's a big club and you ain't in it. All right? They go through these initiation processes. Okay? They pledge oaths to deities, ancient gods, and goddesses. But this is what they do. All right? They don't play with the same God we trust. It's not the same God that you're thinking about. Okay? That's why D.A. Trump, he ain't swear on the Bible. He's not even supposed to do that. But he didn't do that at all. So he even give it the illusion that he's some form of Christian, man. He can't even do that shit. Okay? You gotta take talking about, oh, it's good that he's coming into our cities to keep our city safe. Niggas are stupid, man. All right? And that judgment is coming. The final warning is going up. And that's it. After this, it's over with. Okay? Got it, bros.
Proverbs 18:10. The name of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai is a strong tower.
Right. The name of the Lord is a strong tower. Go ahead.
The righteous runneth into it and is safe.
There's a reason why they made a point to mention the righteous runneth into it. Because the wicked ain't running into the name of the Lord. One, they ain't gonna call on the name of the Lord unless they're desperate. All right, but you know, desperation is a drug. It's a drug, and it'll get you to do things you never thought you'd do. One example is what King David said. He said he beat the heathen so bad they called on everybody, even onto the Most High. How you gonna call on the God of your enemy that's messing you up? That's how bad they getting, you know, they getting messed up. The way they called upon Yahweh and the Most High didn't answer them. So King David continued to beat their ass, right? So here, when it says here, the righteous runneth into it and is safe, what that looks like when it manifests is when there's a famine, as the scriptures say, at famine thou shalt laugh. So when people are starving, you know, dropping pounds, the men of the Lord, they're gonna be, you know what I'm saying, they're gonna be fit, like Daniel. All right. But you're gonna have big bags turn to little bags in the span of weeks. If they don't die before, because when a lot of people's bodies and minds are gonna go into shock because they're not used to that kind of life. It's like when you first come into the truth and you hear about the Day of Atonement and you're like, oh shit, and you do your first fast, you're like, oh damn, I didn't even know I could do that. That's crazy, right? But as it says, the righteous runneth into it and are safe. So one, you got to have the name of the Lord, but two, the Lord got to open up that safe for you. So destruction comes, you call upon the name of the Lord, and somehow you're delivered. It's like they're showing them cartoons. Dude runs outside, danger comes, he runs back inside, and they can't touch him. Then he'll go back out later, and then danger comes again, then he runs back inside, and they can't touch him. That's what it's going to be like whenever we call upon the name of the Lord. It's like we're entering a strong tower that nothing can get through. There's a wild animal coming, you call upon the name of the Lord, all of a sudden it gets tamed. You know, these are the the miracles the Lord is going to do on the behalf of his elect. The rest of these people, man, it's going to be like a million ways to die, and they're going to be the cast. The Most High is going to have a field day with them. He got a plan for each and every one of them. They don't see it now, but they're going to see it real soon.
Got something else to go. But Judges 10, on the flip side, Judges 10 and 13, yet ye have forsaken me and served other gods.
And they're going to say, how are we forsaking you, Lord? People don't stop by to listen to the words of the Lord, but they claim to believe in God. I never met God believers that care so less about the Most High, right? But as it says, read that again.
Wherefore I will deliver you no more.
Because for generations, Israel forsook the Lord, but the Lord still ended up delivering them, right? But the Lord said he ain't going to deliver you no more. Go ahead.
13 again. Yet ye have forsaken me and served other gods. Wherefore I will deliver you no more.
So as a result, the Most High ain't going to deliver you no more. It doesn't matter what you say and how much you cry unto him. He's not going to deliver you. You're about to live your worst nightmare. And it's about to come very, very, very soon. And these people are completely unprepared, man. And the thing is, they don't care. Once again, it says in the book of Jeremiah, the Lord warned you and warned you and warned you, and they turned around and said, we're not going to turn around. Basically, they got so pissed off. Imagine doing wickedness, constantly being warned, and they got so mad, they turned and lashed out at the Lord and said, basically, stop. All right? Stop telling me to stop doing wickedness. Stop trying to get me to do right. I don't want to do it. I don't care about doing it. I haven't cared about doing it, and I'm not going to care now. So stop, because I'm not going to stop. Got it? Cool. Leave me alone. And then that's the energy they give when the Lord calls out to them. It's like, damn, bro. Oh, really? All right, cool. So when the Lord does leave you alone, you're going to run into trouble, then they're going to turn around. Then they're going to, I think we got up on the wrong foot. You know, you were trying to tell me about yada yada. Bruh, don't even look at the Lord in that time. Because he's pissed off, man. Imagine you already pissed off, right? You told somebody not to do it. They didn't listen. They went and did it. Now you're pissed off, and you're still in your anger trying to help them out. And then they're giving you that energy of, don't touch me, don't help me out. What? Man, if you don't, but that's the energy the Lord is coming with.
Hey, I've been in that situation, and when you try and tell somebody something, you'll even touch them like, yo, just listen, calm down. Like, if you would just listen. And then when they go through this situation, they'll tell you, yo, so you was right about that whole thing, man. I should have listened. Oh, really? Really? You should have listened to me. Oh, okay. So what do I do? What do you mean, what do you do now?
What do we do? They come with that shit.
What we gonna do now?
do.
I told you what to do. You didn't want to listen, so now you're gonna have to go do it. So that's how you feel. That's what you're gonna do. You're just gonna I tried to tell you. You just gotta ride this wave now. I tried to warn you about this. You didn't want to listen. You thought you knew better. Well, hey, now you gotta deal with it. Man, you fucked up. See, this is why I don't fuck with it. Oh, really? You don't fuck with me now.
That's Jake, bro.
True colors come out.
That's Jake. And that's an infuriating statement right there. Because they want to do it how they want to do it, regardless of what happens. And they think they're gonna pull that on the Lord. Wait a minute. Hold on. I told you this was gonna happen. I told you don't go there. You went and did it. And now it happened. Now you expect me to come and bail you out. And if I don't bail you out, now you mad at me? No. The time for being bailed out was when I was telling you not to go and do it. What did you say? Yeah, but come on, man. Like, look at what I mean. And it's the fact that they acknowledge the bullshit and then continue to make their case. Hey, yeah, I know you were right, man. I know, man. But like, come on, look at my situation. What do you mean, look at my situation? I knew that was gonna be a situation. That's why I warned you in the first place. You made the wrong. Look, you ain't gonna put your hand in fire and then negotiate not to get burned. That doesn't work that way. The only way you escape fire burns is by not getting burned. That's the end of it. You're not gonna put your hand in the fire on a hot stove. You know it's hot. I told you don't touch it. You went and touched it, and now you don't want to get burned. It doesn't work that way. So if you don't listen to the warnings of the Lord, the final warnings that are going out, a lot of these faces that see us and we see them, they're going to be corpses, man. Real soon, when reality hits, shit hits the fan, a lot of faces you've seen before, the next time you see them, they're going to be a busted head open, a limb on this side, or somebody crying somewhere, or being carried off in somebody's van somewhere. Shit is about to get real out here, man, and people have zero experience. They have no self-awareness. People just walk around like life is all sweet. When your life is being threatened, you're gonna realize that life is not all sweet. When you're in a helpless position, you're in a basement in an Arizona desert somewhere, right? Then you're gonna realize life ain't sweet. And the Most High is about to show you just that. So you better take heed, and we're gonna keep warning till the Lord says, okay, now you can stop. And the second the Lord says that, our heart's gonna drop. Because we're gonna know shit. And the Lord ain't even gonna talk. He's gonna grab you by the shoulder, and he's gonna pull you back, and he's gonna step forward. And at that point, metaphorically, when the Lord grabs the shoulders of the prophets, moves them back so he can step forward, you're screwed. You're so like
It's like them animes when the characters like, that's like, I'm
Yeah, I
take
got
care of
you.
you. Shit, you did. So,
He drops the cloak.
yeah. At that point, you start feeling bad for the enemy. Because you're like, damn, like, I know what this means. Like, once again, going back to Jeremiah. Like, I've seen this. I know how this plays out. And he just got up. And you know what's crazy? The crazy thing about it is, at that point, if you're not behind him, if you're not behind him, you're screwed. Because he is about to shred ass out. What we got?
Gonna be like that Demon Slayer with a nigga head falling off and he's having an internal monologue. Damn, he knew everything of my life. Head is just rolling in slow motion. That's what it's gonna be like, man. And I just want to say one thing, and we can get back to this. That this same camp of Jakes will be the ones complaining about where was the Lord during slavery, right? Where was your ass when your children were crying out to you to not be sacrificed to Molech? Right. This is a part of our history. There's a dark part of our history that Jake don't want to acknowledge, man. Where were you at when your own children were crying out to you, don't sacrifice me to an idol, please? That's heartless, man.
Oh, you know what they would do? They would chant and play music very loud so it would drown out the sound of the crying babies.
Yep. Man, that's some sick ass shit, man. It's the same shit they do now. Make the stallion. Go chant, just they're gonna be loud enough that you don't even, all of the cries of the youth and those that are victims of their wickedness, they will not be heard. Right? So yeah, when slavery happened, the Lord has been, and when you go into 1 Kings, 2 Kings, even when Jake was doing idolatry and wicked things, the Lord was still doing deliverances for us, man. Before the Assyrians came down, and that was the end of that. Before the Babylonians came, and that was the end of that. There was still deliverance. The Lord kept showing mercy, and it's like now, it's like that saying, like you do 7 favors for somebody and you don't do the 8th, all of a sudden you're the enemy.
Right.
You don't look at all the good I did for you, but you only want to focus on the one time, and that was all you brought that upon your damn self. But then it's, oh, the Lord, where was he? Where was he? He put you through that. And most of y'all still haven't learned why and learned the lesson from it. That's why when Jacob's trouble come, it's going to be an ass. It's going to be an ass kicking fiesta, man. All right. Esau, when we had the dude that walked by, I don't know if you brothers noticed, there was a Jake that walked by as we was talking about this whole thing, and he had a shirt with somebody that looked like Esau on it. It looked like an Edomite, like Esau himself on the shirt. You know, so y'all are all team Esau. You know, y'all are team wickedness, and then you want to turn around and be for the Lord. That's why people who are bandwagon fans at the end of the season, they get shamed, because it's like you wasn't here in the beginning with it. In the beginning, when the team was, there was doubts about whether they was going to succeed, right? But you a bandwagon fan. Nobody wants a bandwagon fan. You ain't been here through the mud, you know? See, the Lord is looking for those that are going to be down with him from the beginning of the season, all the way to the playoffs. Don't nobody want no bandwagon fan who comes and go switch jerseys and put the Lord's jersey on at the last second. Oh, now I'm with the Lord. Nah, we see through you, man. Most importantly, the Lord sees through you. Okay, but this is Judges 10 and 14. Go and cry unto the gods which ye have chosen. Let them deliver you in the time of your tribulation.
Guess what? They're gonna do that. You're gonna hear it, man. How many times? It's almost like a cartoon catchphrase where destruction happens and immediately somebody's crying, Jesus Christ! You know, oh God, why would you let this happen to us? Because you're not listening. You know, it's like if child does something wrong, you tell them stop. If you don't stop, I'm gonna punish you. And then they keep doing it, and then you punish them, and they wonder why they're getting punished. Like like the dude in the video, D, why? You know, you driving and drinking, and then the freaking cops pull you over. You tell the officer why? You know what's going on? What do you mean? What? That's Jake. You know, but you're gonna be in a very, very bad situation, as the Lord said. Go and cry unto those guys, and you're gonna find that day is gonna be a very, very telling day. Because that day, a lot of people are going to be happy, or some, I should say, are going to be happy, and a lot of people are going to be crushed. They're going to be crushed because there's going to be a lot of things, a lot of cognitive dissonance going on in your mind. One, this God that you spent your whole life devoted to, when you need him the most, he's going to do like Avatar the Last Airbender and disappear. And they're going to wonder, all right, well, this is coming, but hey, you're believers, right? So start praying to Jesus. And you pray to Jesus and nothing happening. You pray to Jesus, and it's been 3 days, and you and your kids haven't eaten yet, and you wonder where's food coming from. Then you got the other group. All right, let's pray to Allah. You know, they get down, they do their prayers every single day. Nothing is happening. It's gonna be like a magnified version of Elijah and the prophets of Baal. They're gonna do everything they can because they're gonna be desperate. And you know what's gonna be the icing on the top of the cake? When they see the men of the Lord call upon the Lord, and instantly it happens. That's what's going to let them know that it's not like everybody's God, you know, is lagging or loading. Your blessings are loading real quick. Hold on. No. They're not coming. And you're going to know that because you're going to see it happening for certain individuals and not for the others. And you're going to wonder, like, yo, what's going on? Like, I'm calling Allah, but nothing is happening. He's calling on Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, and then instantly food manifests. Wait a minute. Like, destruction is coming. I got you. Like, these wild animals are coming, you know. And they enter this building over here, and you just hear screams in Arabic, and people just dying. And then you hear Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, dude comes out the building with 2 lions tamed. Eventually, they're going to get the pattern. Look, heathens and non-believers, they may be, you know, off, but not all of them are stupid. Yeah. You look in the book of Nezer, guess what? He reverenced the God of the Most High, the God of Israel. Cyrus, Darius, okay? Even Antiochus Epiphanes. Antiochus Epiphanes was so proud, he thought himself to be a god. And even he recognized Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. Instantly, in minutes. With all that pain, guess what? He recognized the Lord. He said, I'll become a Jew, Lord. I'll go around and I'll be an apostle for you. You know? Just cure me of this thing that I'm going through. So in that time, when you're calling upon your gods and they're not delivering you, and then you're witnessing, that's why it says in 2 Ezra 16, then shall they be known who am I chosen. It's going to be apparent. Oh my gosh, these are the men of the Lord. As much as you don't want to admit it, you're going to realize those are the men of the Lord. When they're calling miracles in real time. And don't even let the Lord bless them with spiritual power. Bless us with spiritual power. At that point, shit, you're going to lose your marbles. And you know what? in their minds, they're gonna sit. That's the second Wisdom of Solomon, the 5th chapter. We have wearied ourselves, right? Thinking that, well, how are these guys, the Lord's chosen people? They're gonna sit back, they're gonna drop, and it's all gonna hit them at once. I spent 56 years of my life believing in this. Every single day I went to this house of worship. I did this, I did that, I did this, I did this. I served this God, and he doesn't exist. You mean to tell me this whole time that was them? And it's gonna hit them like a ton of bricks, like, oh shit, like, what do I do now? Like, I'm distraught. And they're gonna see the man of the Lord just, doing what they doing like it's normal. And then it's gonna be like, man, so like now what do I do? Because it's like my whole life was a waste. And at that point, if the Lord has mercy, he might, he might have you, you know what? Let me just follow them. And if not, what some people will do is they'll realize the truth, and there's a defense mechanism in your brain, which is where your denial comes from. When they realize the truth, the cognitive dissonance is so hard in their mind that they're like, no. They try to force, like dude when he got his head cut off, and he basically tried to force his regeneration. He didn't want to accept his death. Right? So for them, they're gonna say, no. This can't be. No, something else. That's the 144.
That's how hard-headed niggas are, bro.
Yeah, it's 144.
Yeah. See?
So they're going, in their minds, they're gonna say, no. This is not it. This is not it. I don't know. That's witchcraft. See, their brain is gonna cling onto something that can reinforce the lies they've been fed all their life, because they don't want to accept that it was a lie. So then they'll say, no, it's witchcraft. What he's doing is witchcraft. The Most High is testing me. That's what it is. He's testing me. So really, this is just my trial. In the afterlife, life would be great. That's where, and then so it's gonna be either you humble down and realize the truth at that point, or you stay in your denial and the Lord just destroys you after that. At that, you just go crazy after that point. So that's why it says, then shall they be known who am I chosen, man. It's gonna be a beautiful time because we know and we believe we're right, and the Lord has showed signs that we're right. But yeah, I think Shalom had a point on you guys.
Oh yeah, you pretty much said what I said. Was gonna say, because speaking as a man, I believe a lot of people, when they see certain things, like you were saying, medical look at spiritual powers getting delivered, I believe that, like what brother was saying, in their mind, they're gonna realize that, especially for a lot of people that spoke against it, that were scoffers, a lot of these people in videos, like you were saying earlier, that a lot of these people that you see, they're gonna be like a corpse on the ground. And that's the same thing for a lot of people, like if I'm not mistaken, I'm sorry, the name is not coming to me. Elder Menachem Zakba, he does a lot of videos where, especially with women, scoffing and saying a lot of things. With some of these people, you may very well see them in the last days and stuff like that, and they're gonna have their little moments where it's like, they may not even, like you were saying, may not even feel too like they may feel too bad within themselves to even humble down and say like, I'm sorry, because they know in their mind like, I said a lot of shit. Like I can't even come back and say, man, or like imagine what's his name? He's in jail. Brother Polite. Imagine he tried like, I shot Bible. I can't even come over here and sit there. I mean, hey, is it possible? There's a possibility, but it's not that's like walking on thin ice. You don't want to do that.
Right.
But like for a lot of people, like the brother saying, I believe in my speaking as a man, a lot of people, when they see that, they're gonna be like, like I just said a whole bunch of stuff. Like I spoke against this, and it's like, this was really the truth. Like I thought that was a joke. I thought like, you didn't tell me that's what God really wanted you to do. And especially like for some reason the spirit hit me when those two Jakes, they were wearing hoodies that walked past earlier. And I forgot what you were saying, but like essentially you were saying like something along the lines of like a lot of people are gonna wish that they had listened to us. And like that's how it's gonna be, because people are hearing, especially it's a lot of Jakes walking past. It is a couple of Edomites, but or people that appear to be Edomites, but a lot of Jake is walking past. It's like that one individual earlier. I understand he's doing his running thing, but you should stop and run over here. You shouldn't like, just take a good 5 minutes to look and see. I'm like, all right, stood and listened for a couple minutes. All right, cool. You saying that there may not be another time for you to see us. This may, no, I'm not saying immediately like this is the last week, but these are like the brothers are saying, these are the last seconds. We're not always going to be around. Something could happen where we may move somewhere else. Then it's like, oh, next week's like, damn, they not here. Shit. Damn. Fuck. Damn. I wonder where they at. I didn't even get the information, nothing. Take the opportunity now. Like it says, damn, what is that? Sirach, is it? It's the 5th chapter.
What is it?
Seek the Lord while he may be found.
Right.
Call ye upon while he is
Proverbs
near.
right there.
Oh, I'm sorry. So you want to do these things while it's now, while the opportunity is now. Because think about it, when there's opportunities in the world, you'll jump at it on the instant. So how much more for the Lord when it deals with your salvation?
Yeah, brother. Say something.
Oh, I had a precept that Zaquan posted this on the comment board. Shalom, Yahweh Shem Yahshua Barakadam. This is Isaiah chapter 8, verse 21. And they shall pass through it hardly bestead and hungry. And it shall come to pass that when they shall be hungry, they shall fret themselves and curse their king and their God and look upward. Now you notice the key part, it says, when they shall be hungry. Because they're not going to realize they're in a bad position until they're in a bad position. You know, the Lord has given us foresight so that we can see these things before they happen, and we can say, no. That's going to lead to a bad position. Don't end up in that situation. For these people, they got to be in the situation before they realize, oh, I'm in a bad situation. You got to be in the quicksand before you realize you're in the quicksand. You saw the quicksand, but you wanted to jump in it to find out if it really was quicksand. Oh, hey, that shit quick.
What was that guy? I'll show you how to get out quick saying it. He started struggling.
Fucking fool. That shit took him quick.
Oh, shit.
Help. You went there by yourself and set up a camera, and in your mind, you never thought, oh, okay, well, you know, in case this shit goes wrong, what do I do? Well, it went wrong, and you ain't do nothing but get sucked down into that quicksand. So they, as it says here, when they shall be hungry. So look, we're not surprised that majority of people don't hear it. In fact, that's an indicator to us. We're like, okay, that's fine. We're doing what we're supposed to do. If all of a sudden, you know, we came into this thing and all of a sudden everybody just listening and they're saying the best things about you, you might start getting worried. You know, like, all right, hold on, wait, shit. They're saying, Luke, that they're gonna hate, we're gonna be hated for the Lord's name. Why they all love us? Something is wrong. It's like when you put together, you put the, you assemble the parts, and then you like, yo, this shit not looking right. Didn't the manual say that's supposed to do this instead? Why is it making that sound? That's what it'd be like. But we know now that, okay, all right, according to what the Lord said, this is exactly what he said would happen, and it's happening. All right, we're doing what we got to do. Because we know that, you know, when they're going to come and look for us, when they're hungry, when the troops are in, when they're a victim or their loved one is a victim of being rounded up from their house, literally dragged into a FEMA camp, or being shot because they out here past curfew and they thought it was a joke. When they're in that situation, then they're gonna remember the Lord, because the way they're gonna remember the Lord is by remembering us, because the Lord is speaking through us. So when that shit happens to them, they'll get visions. The Lord will put it into their mind that very moment when they ran and talk about, oh, I'm running right now, you know, maybe I'll check you out next week. Or when they walk past and they're like, oh, these guys are here again. Or when we set up and they're sitting in a chair and then they get up and leave because they don't want to hear that. The Lord will play, you know, when you're about to die and you get your life flashes, yeah, the Lord is going to put these images in their mind, and it's going to all sink in their mind to say, oh shit, I didn't hear them then, but I hear them now. And the Lord is going to open your ears in that flashback to hear the words, because the Lord has us say certain things at certain times when certain people are passing by. So one person's flashback may be, hey, you got to get right now and turn back to the Lord, or else you're going to die of famine. And that may be what they hear while they're in the famine. Like, oh, wow, that's literally exactly what these guys were warning about. Why didn't I listen? Damn, you got nobody else to blame but yourself when you got to watch your 2-year-old daughter die because there's no food and she's literally starving. Her, like, imagine that. You're looking at your offspring like so skinny. Because you know when you don't eat for a while, your head starts to get big and your stomach inflates.
Yep.
But you see your rib cage at the same time. And you're looking at them get so weak that you can't even cry anymore because you're so weak. Your tear ducts are all dried up. The mother's already dead. And now it's just your only child that's left. And now they're starving to death slowly. And you find yourself in a situation where it's like you're trapped somewhere, you can't get out. There's nothing you can do carnally to get out. You're screaming, you're yelling, and you know what? That's when they get broken down to their knees. And then they cry onto everybody else and even onto the Lord. And you know what? The Lord might show you a message. He might have an angel or sign manifest to say, this is what happens when you don't listen. Or he might just start throwing those flashbacks into your mind. So you understand this is why. And you yourself will reason, that's why. That's why I should have listened. I knew it. I should have listened. And now you're going to sit there and you're going to see your daughter take her last breath. and she's not gonna talk anymore. And you're so weak, you can barely even, crawl over there, and your body's eating itself out. And then you're like, damn, Lord, this how I go out? And your last breath before you go out, that's what you're gonna be thinking. All just so you can come back when the missiles are ready and burn again. Imagine that. This is why you listen when the Most High speaks, man.
Right.
You got people in this world they're so far gone. All you see every day is somebody with their head down like this. That's it. They're zombies. And you're gonna find out the hard way why you listen. Why do we emphasize? Why do we say the same thing again and again and again and again? Because it's that big of a deal. That's why you should have just stopped. All it took was a couple minutes. Like, damn, we're telling you that your life is about to change and you're seeing it on TV, and that's still not enough for you to stop and say, oh, you know what, maybe let me hear what they got to say. Got it, bro.
Yeah, I was gonna say a personal testimony to add to what you're saying. I remember this individual I used to know like years ago. Used to be around them a lot, and then eventually hadn't seen them in a couple of years. But eventually, before I stopped seeing them, I told them certain things that were gonna happen in their life. And then about like maybe a couple of years ago, I somehow got in contact with them, and then eventually I found out that there were certain things that I knew was gonna happen to them that I didn't tell them about. Just kind of trying to keep it vague because it's like a personal matter to me. And then eventually, when I talked to a person like a couple of years ago, I found out that essentially they said that, hey, remember all that stuff that you was telling me was going to happen? You was 100% right. And I'm like, why did the first thing I thought was like, why did I come up in your mind about that? Like, because I hadn't seen you in so long. Like, for me, I thought I was forgotten because I had kind of forgotten about the person as well. So it's like, I was like, why did you come up into, why did I come up in your mind? But I remember that they held those, even though that they took my words at the time as bullshit, really that shows you like, oh, well, you know what? I hear what you're saying, but let me just try this and see. And then it's like, oh, it didn't work out. It didn't. And then like you were saying, the flashbacks came out. So, oh, what was he telling me? What was I telling you before? And it's like, oh, okay, now I see but like you were saying, oh, now you have to see when it's already done too late.
Hey, and I wanted to bring one thing out too that came to mind just now as you were speaking, Shalom, was that the Lord is going to have it to where you're going to have that MOTB up in you too. So the second you try to draw back, you're already locked in with the beast system. It's too late at that point. Oh, yeah. So there's going to be a reminder when you talk about how much you want to repent and how sorry you feel. There's going to be a reminder in your hand or in your forehead about how you completely neglected the Lord and completely gave in to Esau Edom, into the devil system. Okay? So you're going to have that constant reminder. And let's not forget, we spoke about the grievous sword. All right? So that pain and that nasty ass sword, that's how we're going to know. Because guess what? If you just look at somebody, you won't be able to tell if they got it. But once that sword pops out, it's going to be like, oh shit, yeah, you one of those, huh? And then they're going to have that Demon Slayer monologue like brother was talking about. Started all when I was 5. Big Mama took me to church and I met Jeebus.
Couldn't keep one problem.
That was it. That was it. Yep.
And it was all downhill from there. I'm gonna finish this real quick. And
Yeah.
Got you. Yeah. This is continuing in Isaiah 8 and 22. And they shall look onto the earth and behold trouble and darkness, dimness of anguish, and they shall be driven to darkness. And I remember one time, back when I was in college, I remember there was one time I was leaving class, and I'm like walking to the door, right, to open the door of one of the buildings, and the door basically flies open at me. And it looks like a desperate mother. She was a Jake. And she was looking like, stressed. She was looking desperate. And she's like, yo, my son, where? Not knowing her little, like, I don't know how old he was, had like wandered off somewhere. In this huge campus. Oh my gosh, you could see. And at that point, the desperation on her face, it's almost like she wasn't, like her brain wasn't working right. Like she couldn't, I asked her, I said, yo, what's the matter? She couldn't even construct sentences.
May I?
Yeah, you can go.
Okay.
She couldn't even construct sentences. She just like, well, my son, like she's just like all over the place. You know what that was? Desperation. Okay, that was desperation because that's the same thing, that's the same mindset people are going to be in when the Most High brings that judgment. They're going to be in a very desperate state of mind. Got a question?
So I noticed that
the 12 tribes of Israel.
Mhm.
But in the northern kingdom, these are in Central and North America. Okay. My family comes from a Mormon tradition, and the Mormons believe that Christ came to this continent at some time after, I don't know when that was, but I think they believe something similar to the fact that Christ came to the North American continent in, I don't, whenever. So how is it that these 12 tribes of Israel got to Guatemala and
That's
Dominicans and Haitians and so forth?
I'm gonna read that for you. It's in the Bible how they got here.
Oh,
Yep.
okay.
And there's also historical accounts. Sure, you're familiar with Christopher Columbus. So the brother's gonna get the precept, but when Christopher Columbus, the story of Christopher Columbus, as we're told, is he was looking for India,
Right.
and he ended up in the Americas.
Right.
But India is on the east, Americas is on the west.
Right.
Now, what's interesting about that is Christopher Columbus took some translators with him, specifically Hebrew translators.
Uh-huh.
But Indians don't speak Hebrew.
No.
So in order to get a translator, that costs money. Why pay for a Hebrew translator if your intention is to go to India? They don't speak Hebrew over there.
Right.
But he ends up coming here to the Americas, and he meets natives who do speak Hebrew. Now, there's a book called The Aborigines of the Western Hemisphere.
Uh-huh.
That book goes into the time of the New World when the Spaniards and so on were colonizing the Americas. They were all wondering when they came here, they found the Native Americans here, right?
Right.
And they were wondering, how did these people get to this land? So there was a whole actual uncovering and debate and scholars going back and forth trying to find out who are these people and why are they here. Now, you know what they found out? When they observed the customs of the Native Americans here, they said these are the lost, that's why they called them the lost tribes of the house of Israel.
Uh-huh.
Because if you're familiar with the 12 tribes of Israel or the history of Israel, are you familiar with like the story of Israel? The Bible and so on?
A little bit, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So at one point, this was all one kingdom during the time of King David and so on. But eventually the kingdom got split.
Right.
And the northern kingdom left the Americas. So they left the east and came to the Americas, which the brother is going to read.
Yeah.
When they left, a lot of people considered them to be lost because nobody could find them anymore.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, they were over here. So now let's read that real quick. Now, Christopher Columbus had knowledge of this.
My sons are going to be screaming at me. So
No worries.
tell me what it
It's
this is in.
second Esdras,
Okay.
chapter 13.
Now is the book of Ezra, is that a book that is normally not in most Bibles? Like if I go to the Presbyterian church.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we go to a Presbyterian church in Portland, Oregon.
Mhm.
And recently our pastor has been taking some scripture from Ezra and from some other books that are not in the normal Bible.
Yeah, the Apocrypha.
So,
That's what it's called.
And this is the
okay.
one.
Yeah.
King James 1611. King James has the Apocrypha in it. This is the original version.
Right.
One that King James translated. It had those books in it.
Right.
The Protestants took it out.
Right.
Yeah, they took it out.
So what you were going to show me was Ezra what?
Second Esdras, chapter 13.
Okay.
And was it verse 40?
Second Ezra chapter 13, verse 40. Those are the 10 tribes which were carried away prisoner out of their own land in the time of
You hear?
Hosea, king, whom Shalmaneser, king of Syria,
Huh?
led away captive,
Keep in mind that
carried them
this is
over the water,
it's everything.
and sold them away into another land.
Isn't
All right. So that's Ezra 1340.
Second Ezra.
Second Ezra
Yeah, and
1340.
that period is talking about when the Assyrian Empire, you can look up the history, they took the northern kingdom. They came to Israel, they conquered them,
Yeah.
they besieged them, and then they deported them out of their land.
Yeah.
And took them into the land of Assyria. And after a while, when the Assyrian Empire went down, that's when this took place.
Yeah.
When the northern kingdom, the 10 tribes, decided we're gonna leave the east. So that's what we're reading here. You can actually bring it back and
Yeah.
read it again.
Listen, I gotta go. But listen, thank you very much. I appreciate it. I will look that up.
Second Esdras 13 and 40.
Got it.
Yep. And look up the Israelites. You learn more.
Okay.
James
All
Adair.
Thank you.
All right,
James
take care.
Adair.
Con, good call up. But yeah, hey, that's the spirit. There you go. You know, so
right there, because that goes to show you. He said his pastor is starting to pick out stuff from the Apocrypha. Why is that? It's because the Hebrew Israelites, the prophets, are bringing out these points that's making people ask like, yo, where's this from? How do we prove this? When it was a regular church, they don't bring up no points where you don't want to prove anything. They just take it as is. God loves everyone. But now people are becoming critical thinkers, going into history, tying everything together. That's the lot of the prophets. So you see, we have brought the light to the world. Now you got people coming in and asking about the light. But that's how you know we're at the end of this thing. The gospel has been preached throughout the whole entire world. Now at the end is here. You see, we're talking about how they're gonna come looking for the truth. That's an example of that. You know, oh, my kids are gonna go crazy, Right? I got a quick precept to back up the point. He said, how do we know that that proved the point that the Lord came to the Americas? How do we know that? Well, there's a book of John, chapter 10, verse 16. It says, and other sheep I have, which are not of this fold, them also I must bring, and they shall hear my voice, and there shall be one fold and one shepherd. Okay, so that's Yahushua. He said, other sheep that I have that are not of this fold, because he was talking to the three tribes, predominantly Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, right, the Judeans, right, during that time when he was on the scene during the time of the Roman Empire's rulership. Okay, at that time, only the southern kingdom was in Judea. The northern kingdom was already here in the Americas. Okay, so Yahushua was referring to the northern kingdom, which is the other sheep of his fold that wasn't at that time in Judea. Okay, so I have to go and teach them as well, but it starts with Judah. It has to start with the head tribe, and then the rest will get it. You see, so eventually the Lord says, okay, I want to start the work with Judah. I want to go and talk to the northern kingdom, but eventually I want to set you all up in the west so you can go talk to everyone at that time. Judah and Israel going to be in that same land where the prophets are going to be, which is Babylon, America, and we're going to be telling them the same thing that Yahushua was telling them. Okay, so everything is becoming full circle. All right, but you guys just want to bring that out before you got it, bro.
Yep.
One real quick thing I want to say is the wicked always find a way to deal with supposedly deniability. This way of not getting this truth on my sons.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't. We don't know if he was a Edomite. Yeah, you know.
But what I'm saying is, when the truth starts coming out, and when you start ducking and dodging, that's when the time comes. When the Lord come to judge, you can say, "Yo, I didn't hear that," because you left just in time. You was about to drop that bomb.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So that plausible deniability is their scapegoat, right? But it's a cunning trick that y'all think y'all gonna get away with, but the Lord gonna make y'all hear this truth regardless. One way or the other. It's gonna hit you, and you ain't gonna have no way to deny that.
Yep. So everybody got to be marked, you know. Okay, but the Lord said He made us that's it. He made us a prophet unto the nations. And I'm thinking about it now. As much as these people hate us, Esau is going to really need to do something major in order to try and pin us. And that's why, if you notice, what they're doing is they have us as a subcategory of some umbrella group.
Yeah.
So just like that, it's hard for them to just pick Hebrew Israelites alone, because people will be quick to tell you that, you know what? Hey, as much as I don't look, if these people will glorify a gang member after he was killed, talking about he was a good boy, you know what I'm saying? They can say good about wicked people, they can say good about us, right? And what I mean by that is, if Esau came out and just tried to roll on us just randomly, people in the community themselves would be like, well, hold on a second. These guys, I mean, I get what you're saying, but I haven't seen them actually do these kinds of things. Yeah, they get into debates and they go back and forth, but I haven't seen them do nothing crazy. So he needs an event. Why did Nero persecute the Christians? He used an event and pinned it upon them. He couldn't just up and say, because at most, what did Claudius do? He kicked them out. But the Nero level persecution, it required justification. Same thing they use on these foreign T's and so on and so forth. When you look at this whole T, after Trump signed, right before he signed and prescribed Antifa as a T org, what happened before that? You had the whole CK situation. So it's always an event that they use. Same thing with 9/11 for the Patriot Act. It's always an event that they use as the catalyst for them to push something, But at the end of the day, man, what's that?
He said, countries for war, they have to be bombed into war. Like, we gotta smoke them. That's what he said. This nigga said that shit. So what's that? Their tongues to fall upon themselves, right? They come out and they speak all these things, but to the average person, it's like, oh, they're just saying things. But for us, they're speaking in code, and we're understanding the code and breaking down the code. That's what makes it dangerous. The information that they say outright isn't supposed to be understood by the masses. Look into something called legalese. They put information in there where it's right there, but you just can't understand until you understand that language, the pattern, the certain verbiage that they use, emphasis on certain words, you know, and that's all done by design to confuse you into accepting the bullshit. You see, it's fucked up, diabolical. You got it, bro.
Yeah, the scriptures say that we're made a spectacle, and people that pass by, they see us. Whether they act like they don't, but they see us. You know. So when that time comes, like you were saying, why were you the one that popped into the person's mind? People are going to remember, okay, the prophets. The Lord is going to strengthen your memory, and you're into your memory, right? And they're gonna know, they're gonna remember that, yeah, I was warned of these men, and these are the final warnings. Eventually, and the Lord got it set up to where when we're not here, that's when they're gonna start looking. Like I was reading in Isaiah, right? When they're hungry, when they're in a bad situation, then nobody goes looking for help if they don't need help, if they're not in need, right? If you're already good, who's gonna file for unemployment if they already got a job, right? So the Lord has set it up to where your people are gonna, when they do need it, the Lord is gonna take it away. Because he was telling you, look, I want you to be proactive. You want it to be reactive. So you can be reactive, except you're gonna be reacting to the judgments that are coming. And you ain't gonna make it up.
Yeah, just a quick point. And that time, nobody's gonna be able to blame somebody else. You're not gonna be able to sit there and say, oh, this or that. You're gonna have to look at yourself. You're gonna be like within your own mind and say, yo, if I had only just listened. Like in that day, you're gonna have to sit there and say, if I had only listened to this individual, I wouldn't be in this situation. If I only listened and not gotten my emotions and my feelings, I wouldn't be going through this pain right now. And that thought comes in, like, you ever did something fucked up and then it's like, damn, why the fuck did I do that? What the fuck is wrong? Like, why would I do something like that? Those are the type of thoughts that are gonna come into people's mind, like, yo, what is wrong with me? Like, how could I not have seen that? How could I not have known that? It was so clear. And he made it so easy for me to understand, but it's just like, I just did not want to listen. It's no longer gonna be, oh, you this and you that. We don't like the way that you guys talking. So I'm like, damn, like, I'm just an idiot.
Precept. Yeah.
Ecclesiastes 12:1. Remember now thy creator in the days of thy youth, while the evil days come not, nor the years draw nigh, when thou shalt say, I have no pleasure in them. So yeah, remember the creator in the days of your youth, man. The sooner the better. And you don't want to wait till, things get bad to start seeking out the Lord, man. And we always mention, we know that the Lord, his arm is not short and that it cannot grant salvation, right? At the same time, you don't want to be the one to tempt the Lord, knowing that his mercy is great. That's why it says in that Wisdom of Solomon, don't say that his mercy is great, and basically use that as an occasion to be a demon.
Oh, Sarah, yeah,
Is this Sirach?
For the multitude of my iniquity.
It might be Sirach, yeah. So don't use that as an occasion to just become more of a demon, because if you're already thinking about how the Lord is merciful, well, that was your chance right there to go into that mercy, to receive that mercy. But a lot of our people, they want to wait, put off the day of the Lord, put it off. It's funny too, because brothers mentioned the Apocrypha. Now my mom started talking about the Apocrypha. Look at that. She was like, oh yeah, one of my friends, she was telling me about Ezra's and Second Ezra's, and I'm like, oh wow, would you look at that? But acting like she never heard it. I'm like, Ma, I've been telling you about this.
Yo, that's crazy.
She's like, yeah, I know, that's good. But it can't come from us. That's the thing. Because we're at the offscouring of the earth. We're looked at as the lowest, especially being an Israelite man. So they'll take the truth from anybody else but us, But the thing is that you got to get it through the right channels, because you can get a piece of truth from somebody, but the whole truth, which leads to salvation, name of the Lord, the prophecies, everything, you got to go to the right channels to actually get that. All right, which is the true men of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, starting with our apostles and our leadership, man.
This is Sirach. Oh, I'm out.
Now you good. I got one more after you, and close it on that.
Sirach chapter 5 and verse 6. And say not, his mercy is great, he will be pacified for the multitude of my sins. For mercy and wrath come from him, and his indignation resteth upon sinners.
All right. Yeah, you can't just focus on the Lord's mercy because that's not balanced. The Lord he's a power of judgment and he's a power of mercy. The thing that you're going to find out about this book, this is the most balanced, completely equitable book that you're ever going to find on earth, man. You know, there's scriptures that you would think contradict each other, but it's just giving you two sides of the coin. Because some scriptures say moderate eating cometh sound sleep. And then there's other scriptures that say, but food and drink is one of the best joys of a man. So you have to have discernment to know, yes, there's an application of both. And then Ecclesiastes, I think it's the 3rd chapter, says there's a time and a place for everything.
Yep.
So there's always, you got to know the circumstances of where you at. So there's a time to hold the peace. There's a time to speak. Now we're in the time to speak. There's going to come a time where the Lord going to take us off the highways and hedges, and there's going to be a time for us to hold our peace. And there's going to be a time of silence. That's the famine of the word.
Right.
So come and get it now while it's hot. And that's something that, you know, my earthly father always told me. He would get pissed off if he had a plate of dinner on the table, and you would wait to come and get it. And so you got to get this while it's hot, because your body digests food better when it's hot. When you put cold food in your body, it disrupts your system, because now your body has to heat the food up to match the rest of your body's temperature, which is naturally like 98.6. If you eating food that's like 70 degrees, then now you're making your body work harder. And you're going to have higher cholesterol. So get this food while it's hot. All right. Don't wait for the plate to get cold. All right. And then it's going to be of no service to you. Okay. And what happens when you also leave food out? If you leave it out long enough, it'll go soiled. You know, you'll eat it and it'll make you sick.
Right.
Okay. Because it's not nutritious to you anymore. It has bacteria and different things. You got to get it just like the manna from heaven. You had to eat it the day that it came, and that was it. If you didn't eat it and get your portion, that was it.
Right.
So get it while it's hot, man.
You know, it's spiritual. Shows you the wisdom of the Lord, right? Cold food doesn't have, like, it's not appetizing, right? If it's like rice and chicken and the stew is cold and shit, right? Rice is just out the fridge. It's not appetizing. When you warm it up, it starts to have the scent, right? It starts to smell good. Then you start salivating. Then you get hungry,
Right.
because the Lord knows the body, like the brother just explained, that these are the best conditions for the body to consume it. That's why he makes you more, makes your appetite grow when it's under those conditions.
Yep.
So the Most High got everything set up. But I got one more precept. This is 2nd Ezra chapter 7, verse 42. He answered me and said, "This present time is not the end of the world. Much glory abideth yet. Therefore have they prayed for the weak. But the day of judgment shall be the end of this time, and the beginning of the time of the future immortality, in which the temporal shall be past. Intemperance shall be abolished, unbelief laid aside, righteousness increase, and truth spring up. Then shall no man be able to save him who shall be lost, nor oppress him who shall have overcome." And that's why we're giving you the final warnings, because when that time comes, you're going to be locked in to whatever place that you're in. You're either righteous or you wicked. Point blank, period. Russ, got anything else? That's on Haran? You good? Oh, you got
Just
something.
one last precept to back. One last precept to back up your point. Revelation. As you just said. Let's get that. Revelation chapter 22. There you go. The book of Revelation chapter 22. And verse 10, it says, actually, there you go, verse 10, it says, "He said to me, seal not the sayings of the prophecy of this book, for the time is at hand, and the time is where we are right now. He that is unjust, let him be unjust still, because ultimately, just like the angels that the Lord is going to send to be the ones who separates the righteous from the wicked, okay, because we're all basically between, the Lord is going to be the one to make that the separation, okay, mine elect versus those who are not shall they be known. Chosen. It says, he that is unjust, let him be unjust still. And he which is filthy, let him be filthy still. And he that is righteous, let him be righteous still. And he that is holy, let him be holy still. Okay? So ultimately, those like the part, like you said, to close it out. Whatever line you're in, that's where you're going to be at until the Lord come back. He's the ultimate judge. Right? He's the ultimate judge, so he's going to decide makes them who doesn't. All right, like Johnny Cash song, when the man comes back. All right, when the man comes back. So when Yahushua comes back, that's going to be the day of judgment. Okay, and at that point, wherever you at, you're going to stay right there. And if you're fit for destruction, you're going to get that. If you're fit for salvation, Lord willing, we are that number, we're going to get that. Lord willing, and that is our expectation. All right, so that's about it, brothers. You got it. Close it out.
Done. Beautiful. So with that, Lord willing, this is edifying to the elect. In closing, we want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Makak, Wadash. Until next time, Shalom. All right.
Shalom.